What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning back in. I'm now on, I think this is 16 days. So 2 weeks and 2 days ago since I've had, actually this will be 17 days. It's been 2 weeks and about 3 days roughly since I've had my last MIT. I'm still taking them, 12.8 to be exact grams of kratom powder each day. And at this point, my sleep is leveled out. I'm completely sleeping through the night. I am happy to report that last night I literally slept all the way through the night. I went to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, probably drifted off to sleep by about 10, 15, somewhere around in there. And I literally did not wake up fully and look at my watch until 5:15 in the morning. So, and I'm going to tell you, for the last 2 weeks, since I've come off of that MIT, in spite of the fact that I've been taking the kratom powder every day, I have woken up multiple times throughout the night. I'm talking about I'm awake at 12, awake at 1, wake up again at 2:30. I'm awake again at 3:45. I mean, it just was a constant thing where you're just waking up. So if you are on the MITs and you're coming off of the MITs, I had my guy yesterday. I've kind of been talking to him. He's been commenting on my videos. Seems like a real good dude. He's trying to get off the MITs. He's also struggled with it. And he mentioned yesterday, which I thought was a really good word to describe the MITs. He said those MITs are raw. That's a good description, my dude. They're raw literally, and they're raw figuratively. And in terms of street slang, raw. They're harsh, man. And it's one of those things where I'm not gonna tell people not to take kratom, but don't take the extracts, man. Don't take the MITs. You are inevitably going to get yourself in a spot where you're hooked on them, and the amount of the kratom extract, or I'm sorry, the amount of the kratom alkaloid in those MITs is so high that when you go to stop taking them, you're going to experience some withdrawals. The only way you're not going to experience some withdrawals is to take probably, 16 to 20 grams of kratom powder. And that's a lot. To get 15 to 20 grams of kratom powder, you're going to have to swallow probably 25, 30 capsules of kratom in one day. I was just never willing to do that. The last couple of days, I've been swallowing around 19 capsules. The capsules are about 674 milligrams a piece. So it takes 19 of those is right under 13 grams of kratom. And it's taken me a good couple of weeks to get to that point where I'm actually sleeping soundly through the night with about 13 grams of kratom. My first few days off of it, I was taking about 13 grams of kratom, and I still wasn't sleeping. I was having some issues at night, waking up multiple times. It's just, when you're used to taking those MITs, they are so sedative, and it's one of those things where if you have even one of those throughout the day, you're gonna sleep like a baby, man. You'll sleep like a rock all the way through the night. And if you build up a tolerance for these things and you've been taking them, for months on end every day, you're going to build up a tolerance. And eventually, when you go, if you do select to come off of them, you're going to have some issues with sleeping. And I always talk about the night times because I found that, and I think everyone would probably agree with this, the worst thing about any sort of opiate withdrawal, for me at least, has been the night times. Now there are some, back in the day when I came off of like Percocets and Vicodins, when I'd been taking heavy doses of those for an extended period of time, especially when I quit cold turkey, I remember that being I remember the daytime sucking really bad too, in terms of just not having any energy, just you know, your bowels are all messed up. You know, every time you go to the bathroom, it's a loose stool. You're just depressed. I mean, if you quit Percocets or Vicodins, or I can imagine, you know, that if you quit something like that cold turkey, your body is so depleted of making dopamine, because it's been having this synthesized form of dopamine just flooding your system and your brain every day, all day, every day, that your body literally depletes itself of natural dopamine. Your body says, hey, I'm getting all this extra serotonin, all this extra dopamine. It sends a signal to your receptors to stop, to switch off, and to stop, either cut down severely or almost stop altogether making natural dopamine and serotonin. And if you don't have serotonin or dopamine floating around in your brain, those are the feel-good chemicals. Those are the mood chemicals that allow you to get excited about something, to allow you to feel, you know, kind of euphoric. And I can't think of a better word than just allow you to feel happy about things and excited about things. And when you come off of something like that, you have no feel-good chemicals in your body. Someone could walk up to you and say, hey dude, you just won $1 million in the lottery. And you'd be like, that's cool. It's awesome, man. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. You know, I mean, what am I really going to do with $1 million? You know, I mean, you would not be, you would not be able to get excited about something that at any other time you would be extremely excited about. That's just how depleted you are of those specific mood enhancing chemicals in your body. And Kratom is similar, but it's not as bad. If you're wanting to come off of the MITs, you need to make sure that you are replacing that with a substantial amount of kratom powder. Otherwise, you are going to experience some withdrawals. Unfortunately, the amount of kratom powder that you're probably going to have to supplement your day with is going to be a decent amount. It's going to be a lot, and that's something that I learned the hard way, because before I ever touched the MITs, I was just taking the kratom capsules. And to be honest, I was never really taking all that much. You know, I'm a person who has a lot of responsibility. I work a job. I don't have time to just sit around eating kratom all day. So I was dosing myself. You know, I'd take like 4 in the morning, maybe 4 in the afternoon sometime, and then I'd take another 4 at night. I was, you know, taking roughly maybe 8 to 9 grams of kratom per day, sometimes less, 7, 8, 9 grams of kratom per day. That's not that much. And the reason I'm taking almost 13 grams of kratom at this point is because when I came off of the MITs, I didn't have a choice. I had to increase my dose of kratom powder more than I had ever taken before, to compensate for the fact that I was taking away that MIT, because people don't understand how much of the kratom alkaloid they're getting in these MITs. And I talked about this on my last video, how the guys who are making these extracts and making these MITs, they understand that they have an ace up their sleeve. They understand that these things are highly addictive. They understand that a person, when coming off of them, is going to experience withdrawals if they don't take, for example, 30 capsules of kratom powder in one day. And most people don't take that amount of kratom powder. But if you get hooked on those MITs and then you try to come off of them and you try to supplement your day with kratom powder, you're going to realize real quick that the amount of kratom powder it takes to equal the kratom alkaloid in an MIT is very, very high. Very, very high. And it took me 2 weeks to even get to a point where taking 19 kratom capsules per day, that I'm just now starting to level out, and my body's just now starting to sleep without the MIT. For almost 2 weeks straight, I was up every hour, on the hour, on the hour, on the hour. And that simply had to do with the fact that I've been taking the MITs for a year and a half. And my body was accustomed to that amount. And it should have been obvious to me, because it's one of those things where even when I was taking the MITs, I had Kratom capsules at home, and I would come home, I would tell my wife, God, these things are getting expensive. I'm going to stop taking, I'm not going to get one today. And then I will be on the way home knowing full well that I've got plenty of Kratom capsules at home. I would have this urge, still this urge and this feeling to stop and get one of the MITs. Why? Because they're that much more addictive. Why? Because they have that much more of the kratom alkaloid in it. The way these opiates work is the more alkaloid of that which gives you the euphoria, that which gives you the high, the more of it that exists in the drug that you're taking, the more addictive that drug is. The more euphoria, the more addictive. The more kratom, the more euphoria. The more kratom is in an MIT than it is in the capsules. So it's one of those things where if you're coming off of it, and I know all of you out there, and I was talking to my dude about this, it's going to be one of those things where if you want to come off of the Kratom Extract, the MIT, you're gonna have to supplement your day with a good amount of kratom powder at first, and that's okay. But I want to say to you, it does get better, because I personally am a representation of that. It's starting to get better for me. It took a couple of weeks. Things were a little, after coming off of the MIT and just going back on the powder, it took me a little bit to get things figured out, and things were a little dicey there for a couple of weeks. I wasn't sleeping worth a damn, especially the first couple of days off the MIT. My mood was really bad. My mood was really low. I was struggling, man. And this is with, I was taking 10, 11, 12 grams of kratom powder per day, which can equal up to 15, 16. A couple of days I was taking 17 capsules in one day, and I still couldn't sleep. I still couldn't get away from the withdrawals. And it just goes to show you how strong and how powerful these MITs are. So come off the MIT, stop spending so much money on them, stop going broke. Go ahead and get you some capsules, and accept the fact that you're going to need to take probably 20, 25 of those capsules in one day. Don't do it all at one time. There's a lot of risk associated with that. And to be honest, the FDA hasn't looked at kratom. There hasn't been a lot of studies on kratom and its effects on people. So it's one of those things where we don't know what the future looks like as far as kratom use and how it really affects the body, because of lack of scientific research on the matter. So when you're dealing with something like that, go easy, be careful, come off the MITs, gear up to take 20, 25 capsules of those per day. Do it a little bit at a time. Take 4 here, wait 3 or 4 hours, take 4, 6 more, wait 3 or 4 hours, take you 5 more of them, just incrementally take the kratom, give your body a little time to process through it before you're cramming more in your mouth. But if you do that, you can probably get to the point where you're not really having a lot of withdrawals associated with MITs. If you try to quit the MITs cold turkey, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck. I've done it. And the only reason I did is because at that point, I was between jobs. I had been laid off from my previous job, but I was still getting paid. I was offered a severance package from that company that laid me off. And so I was at home, I wasn't working, but for like 2 months, I was still getting paid a salary. So I was like, damn, this is a blessing. this is the perfect time to come off of the MIT. So I actually quit cold turkey, and it was no Percocet cold turkey. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad. It wasn't good. You know, you're gonna be uncomfortable you're not gonna sleep if you go cold turkey. You're not gonna sleep, if at all, for a couple of weeks. And I'm just being real about that. So if you have a job and you have responsibilities and you can't just be laying around not sleeping and not doing shit all day, then you're gonna need to taper as opposed to going cold turkey. Because if you try to go cold turkey and just get it out of the way quick and go too hard with it, you're probably going to end up relapsing, because I can tell you the cold turkey withdrawals from MIT sucks. I know it's hard to believe. A lot of people think because Kratom's legal and this and that and the other that the withdrawals are not bad. You're wrong. The withdrawals can be pretty intense, and this is coming from a person who has been through Percocet withdrawals before. Now, again, I'm not comparing the two. Percocet's definitely worse, but MIT is not easy either, and so just be prepared to do a taper. And I've kind of laid out how you do it. There's certain things that help. Take yourself a multivitamin every day. That'll help some with your mood. It will also help to flush it out of your system. Exercise helps to work some of that negative energy out of your system. Exercise is also a natural increaser of mood. Increaser, is that a word? Increaser. It naturally increases your mood. Exercise actually generates dopamine naturally in the body, so that will help. Put some music on, go run. If you're not in great shape, run as far as you can, just enough to get your heart beating really fast, and enough to get some dopamine flowing. Anything helps when your body is void of dopamine and serotonin. Anything helps. And then also the exercise helps, at night when you go to lay down, you've kind of worked out some of that excess energy, and it can kind of help decrease like the restless legs and the discomfort in the chest, associated with withdrawals. Any of you out there who have ever been sort of through some sort of opiate withdrawals, you know what I mean when I'm talking about the discomfort in the chest. You get it. My wife's never been through any sort of opiate withdrawal, and when I try to explain to her, she tries to tell me to her, oh, you can't sleep? Well, take some Tylenol PM, take some Aleve PM, or take some melatonin. That's known to help people sleep. I'm just like, you obviously don't get it. It has nothing to do with not being tired or not being able to get tired. You can get tired just fine, but the physical manifestations of the withdrawals serve to keep you awake in spite of the fact that you're sleepy and you're tired. It's hell on earth. And so you can do those things. Drink a lot of water to help try to flush all of that drug out of your system as quickly as possible. And cold showers help. Get under a cold shower for about 30 seconds. Shiver yourself to death just as long as you can take it. Turn it back on warm. Chill for a minute. Wait about another 30 seconds. Turn it back on as cold as you can get it. And just shiver, 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 shiver. And when you get out, you'll almost feel like a natural high and euphoria, almost like very relaxing. And that's something that can help you as well. But taper, guys. Don't, again, if you're in a situation where you can handle the withdrawals, you don't have a lot of responsibility in your life, fine. Go ahead and go cold turkey. It's doable. I've done it. And after about 2 weeks or so, everything should kind of, even cold turkey, after about 2 weeks, everything should kind of turn back to somewhat normal in terms of the physical aspect. Sometimes the mental can kind of linger on for a little while, the depression and just what am I going to do now that I don't have that drug in my system. The physical should, start to subside and get somewhat better between, it all depends on the person your age, your health level, how much you've been taking, how long you've been taking it, what your tolerance was, but it could be anywhere from 7 to 14 days. If you're a person that hasn't been taking that much of it, you might be, in the free and clear from any withdrawals in 3 to 5 days. It just all depends on a lot of different factors. And so that's that. Now I'm at about 20 minutes. So I've been telling some stories about my past with drug addiction, and I want to get another one of those in, but I want to kind of address the MIT withdrawals and stuff like that as well, for anybody that's happening by my video and you need some ideas, you need some encouragement. Look, dude, it gets better. Just do it. It is gonna suck for a little bit, but I've given you some kind of a blueprint on where you can start. That should get you started. So back in my 20s, I was on Vicodin and Percocet real bad, and I've talked about this a little bit on my previous videos. I was at a point in my life where I wasn't getting a steady prescription of the pills, but I was highly addicted to the pills. And I've talked about that. I stole them from my parents. I was in the throes of addiction. Let's put it that way. As addicted as you can get. That was me. And I'm an honest person, but at that point in my life, I was not being honest to anyone, including myself. And so I was doing a lot of doctor hopping at this time. Leave a comment, let me know if you've done that, if you've been one of those people to doctor hop. And I got off of work one day and I went to this, well, let me back up. There was one time previously where I had actually taken a prescription that somebody wrote for me, and they wrote, I think what it was is he wrote me a prescription for like 10 Vicodin or something like that. I took the prescription and I made the 1 into a 4 using black ink, which is what it had been written on. And I took that prescription to the pharmacy and they actually didn't catch it. Apparently they didn't call and confirm. This was a little bit earlier. I don't know what their process is in confirming that the amount is actually what was written. I don't know what their process is, but for whatever reason, they didn't catch it. And the pharmacist ended up giving me 40 Vicodin. And I was like, yes, score. Anytime you score some Vicodin is a good thing. So I got 30 extra Vicodin when the doctor had only written me for 10. I faked some sort of injury, said my shoulder hurt or something. I don't remember. I did it so many times. I definitely do not remember now. And plus this was 20 years ago. And so I had gotten by with forging the amount on a prescription once before. And I was in desperation mode. So I went to the urgent care this one night and the doctor wrote me a prescription. And I don't remember the amount that he wrote me the prescription for. I think it was maybe like 40 or maybe it was 20 that he wrote it for or something like that. And my dumb ass got the bright idea to put a 1 in front of the 20 and try to, I was going to try it again. I was going to try to see if I could, cop more pills. And this was just a really dumb move. And I remember I took it to the pharmacy at Harris Teeter. And I was waiting. And it seemed like I was waiting longer than normal, to get this prescription because there wasn't a lot of other people at the pharmacy. And after several minutes, I admit, I started getting a little nervous because I had looked and, how you can see the pharmacy tech and the pharmacy. You can see them back there working, doing things. And I had seen the pharmacist on the phone back there. And of course I kind of started getting that little nervous kind of feeling like, is he, who's he talking to? Like, what's going on? Why is it taking so long? Whatever. Well, after probably, I don't know how long, 20, 30 minutes maybe of waiting on the prescription, the pharmacist calls me up there And he said something to the effect of, Mr. Austin, I was spoken with the doctor's office, and they did not write this prescription for this amount. So they're, at this point, the doctor has refused. He's refusing to give you any. I mean, dude, the thing says 120 on it, and let me just say this. This is how desperate I was. It didn't look authentic, because I had to like squeeze the one in there because there wasn't enough room to put the one, so I kind of squeezed it in, and it didn't look like natural handwriting, like, but you only get one shot at it, you know, because you only have one piece of prescription paper. And this was back in the day where, you know, now they type this stuff up to make it a lot more on you know, letterhead and stuff like that. It makes it a lot more difficult. But this is back in the day where they gave you like a written, you know, prescription, and it didn't look authentic, but I had already done it. It was too late, you know. I was trying to get by with it, and apparently he looked at it and he was like, what the hell is it, you know. And so when he called the doctor about it, and they were like, no, we didn't write it for 120, we wrote it for 20. Of course the doctor knew, you know, this guy's trying to cop some opiates, and so I'm sure he doubted at that point that I was even legitimately injured or really needed the medication. So he told him, don't give that guy a prescription, don't fill the prescription. So my dumb ass was trying to cop more, and instead went home with no opiates that night. And it's funny because it's been so long, I don't actually remember if I did end up going somewhere else and like copying some, or, you know, buying some off the street from someone. I don't remember. I really don't remember. I could have went home without any and just had a shitty night going through withdrawal. I don't know, because those things are so, when you get addicted to something like that, the withdrawals start almost immediately. 6 to 8 hours after you've taken your last dose, you're already starting to like, oh shit, yeah, oh, not feeling good, you know. It's that sort of thing when you're really highly addicted to those. And, you know, I ended up looking it up later, and it was one of those things where I was in such a drug-filled haze, I just didn't care. Here's the thing. They could have pressed charges. I could have gotten in serious trouble for that. But when he told me that he wasn't going to fulfill the prescription, for one thing, I was really embarrassed, you know, because at that time, I didn't see myself as that type of guy. I'm a professional, I'm a teacher, everyone respects me, you know, no one knows that I'm going through this really, to the degree that I'm actually going through it. And I'm just embarrassed, and I just like want to get out of there. You know, especially after I found that I wasn't going to get the prescription. There's no need arguing with him. And so I left, and there it was. I left, and I learned later that was illegal. So that's another story from the dark side. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys watching. My video's about to time out here, plus my wife's calling me. Put down the MITs, like, subscribe to the video. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.